In the opening, Clint Barton is teaching his daughter archery on his secluded farm while his wife prepares a picnic lunch for them. Suddenly, Clint's daughter vanishes and the rest of Clint's family disintegrates, along with half of all life across the universe, the result of Thanos snapping his fingers after acquiring all 6 Infinity Stones. Nebula and Tony Stark are stranded in space following their defeat by Thanos on Titan, but are returned to Earth by Carol Danvers and reunited with Natasha Romanoff, Bruce Banner, Steve Rogers, Rocket, Thor, and James Rhodes. The team formulates a plan to steal the Infinity Stones back from Thanos and use them to reverse his actions, but learn upon finding him that he had used the stones a second time to destroy them, preventing their further use. He tells the remaining Avengers that he did so to avoid using the stones for further nefarious purposes. Enraged, Thor beheads Thanos, saying it's what he should have done in Wakanda. After 5 years, Scott Lang escapes from the quantum domain to find that his little girl Cassie is currently a teen and that Trust Van Dyne, alongside half of the populace, has vanished in the snap. Rogers has been driving distress advising meetings for survivors actually battling with the impacts of the snap, while Romanoff is energetically overseeing both Earth and the remainder of the universe with the assistance of Rhodes, Danvers, Okoye, Rocket, and Cloud. Lang goes to Romanoff and Rogers, and makes sense of that while 5 years had passed for them. Just 5 hours had passed for him in the quantum domain, and that time extends much contrastingly there.
The three go to Unmistakable, who is currently bringing up a kid with pepper pots, and make sense of their hypothesis that the quantum domain can be utilized to travel once more into the past and take the Vastness Stones, before Thanos can gather them. Unmistakable at first oddballs their proposition with worry about gambling with his family and the harmony he has found. However, in the wake of reflecting upon the deficiency of Peter Parker, chooses to test hypothetical models that would work with Lang's quantum burrow, in the long run tracking down one that works. With Unmistakable now ready, the leftover Justice Fighters set off on a mission to reassemble their group. Bruce Standard has now embraced the mass as a piece of him, and has merged his own cognizance and the mass together into one. Romanoff, subsequent to hearing reports from Rhodes of a professional killer that works with comparable strategies to Barton, passes on to track down him. Barton, consumed with misery after the deficiency of his family, has been working under the mantle Ronin, while ruthlessly slaughtering criminal cartels and groups all over the planet to attempt to work on the world that is still left. Natasha tracks down him in Japan, and after some persuading, he consents to rejoin the group to attempt to bring his family back. Flag and Rocket go to the modest community of New Asgard, where Valkyrie and the last overcomers of Asgard have settled. They there find Thor, who has become overpowered by responsibility over neglecting to kill Thanos in Wakanda. Thor has become overweight, his hair and facial hair are congested, and he invests his free energy eating unhealthy food, becoming inebriated and playing Fortnite with his companions Korg and Meek. Thor hesitantly consents to get back to the Justice Fighters after some persuading from Rocket and Pennant. In the wake of testing the quantum time machine on Barton, who affirms that it works, the Justice Fighters are brought together with an arrangement. Pennant, Rogers, Lang, and Unmistakable leave to recover the time, psyche, and space stones during the Clash of New York in 2012. Pennant goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where he is educated by the Old One that requiring some investment stone from her timetable would forestall Stephen Peculiar's future endeavors to prevent Caecilius from annihilating the laws of nature. Notwithstanding, when Standard tells her that Unusual surrendered the Time Stone enthusiastically to Thanos, she permits Flag to make them suggest Peculiar had expected for a particular succession of occasions to happen for Thanos to be crushed. Pennant likewise guarantees the Stones' revisitation of their legitimate courses of events to forestall any evil impacts. Lang and Distinct endeavor to take the Space Stone after the Vindicators seize it from Loki. Lang gives Unmistakable's previous self a gentle heart failure by pulling a circuit in his fake heart, while Obvious takes the folder case lodging the Tesseract when no one is looking. Their arrangement is ruined when Obvious drops the satchel after he is incidentally hit by the Massachusetts Loki, then, at that point, takes the Space Stone and uses it to get away from authority. Rogers prevails with regards to taking the Brain Stone from secret Hydra specialists, yet finds his previous self, who botches him for a hidden Loki. Subsequent to overcoming past Steve, Rogers gets back together with Distinct and Lang, who presently should sort out one more method for getting the Space Stone without running out of the restricted stockpile of Pym particles that permit them to go through the quantum domain. Lang gets back to the present with the Brain Stone, while Rogers and Obvious devise an arrangement to take the Space Stone from a U.S. Armed Force establishment during the 1970s, while additionally taking further vials of Pym particles to make the excursion back home. While there, Rogers cites Peggy Carter, and Obvious has a significant discussion with his dad Howard. Rocket and Thor travel to Asgard to recover the Truth Stone before Malekith utilizes it against the 9 domains. While in Asgard, Thor is reminded that his mom, Frigga, would bite the dust soon and gets an opportunity experience with her, while Rocket takes the ether, the disintegrated form of the Truth Stone, from Jane in Courage. The 2 revisitation of Earth after Frigga advises Thor and he recovers his sledge Mjolnir, thrilled to find that he is as yet deserving of it. Cloud and Rhodes travel to Morag to take the Power Stone before Peter Plume does. As Rhodes gets back to the present with the Power Stone, Cloud breakdowns and stays on Morag. With 2 consciousnesses working on Cloud's frameworks, Thanos and Midnight Throat find the presence of future Cloud and go to abduct her. Cloud acknowledges what has occurred and attempts to caution the others, however is past the point of no return. Thanos checks her recollections and finds the Vindicators' arrangement, and sends the more steadfast past Cloud back to the present as a covert operative. Barton and Romanoff travel to Vormir to recover the Spirit Stone, however are clashed when Red Skull, attendant of the stone, illuminates them that it must be recovered by forfeiting somebody they love. The 2 battle about which will make the penance, with Romanoff at last accepting any penalty, while a distressed Barton gets back to Earth with the Spirit Stone. After everybody has gotten back to the present on the planet, Obvious, Rocket, and Pennant set off on a mission to make a glove to use the stones, one built from the equivalent nanotech of Unmistakable's most recent Iron Man suit. Flag volunteers himself to employ the glove and bring back everybody that vanished in Thanos' snap, thinking that he can endure both the gamma radiation and the huge aggravation and injury welcomed on by utilizing the stones. He succeeds, however they are very quickly gone after by Thanos, who has been brought to Earth by the Sham Cloud, obliterating the quantum gateway simultaneously. Thanos diminishes the Vindicators' base camp to rubble, separating the group and making the glove fall into Barton's security. The previous Cloud is killed by her future self as she endeavors to take the Vastness Stones from Barton, while Rogers, Thor, and Unmistakable defy Thanos, who concludes he will rather utilize the Limitlessness Stones to annihilate the universe and make one in his vision. The 3 battle Thanos one-on-one, with Rogers affirming Thor's hypothesis that he genuinely deserved using Mjolnir, yet are each outmaneuvered by Thanos. Not long after Thanos' military terrains on the planet, Chala shows up before Rogers, alongside the Justice Fighters as a whole and different partners restored by Pennant, prior to sending off an attack on Thanos and his military. After an extensive fight during which Unmistakable is brought together with Parker and Plume is brought together with past Gamora, Thanos grapples with various Vindicators for the Vastness Stones. At the point when he's limited by Wanda Maximoff's energy, Thanos orders Glaive to have his boat fire numerous energy impacts, almost pulverizing the Vindicator's endeavors. Skipper Wonder returns, taking out Thanos' boat while battling for control of the glove. Utilizing the nanotech from the new glove, Unmistakable moves the Endlessness Stones from Thanos' hand to his own and utilizes them to transform Thanos and his whole armed force into debris, victoriously expressing, "I'm Iron Man." Parker and Potts console distinct as he bites the dust from openness to the stone's radiation. Following the fight, the Vindicators hold a memorial service for Unmistakable, whose imprint I-Bend reactor is drifted out on the lake close to his home. Barton and Wanda Maximoff take comfort in the way that Romanoff and Vision, who didn't return in the snap, would be glad for their triumph over Thanos. Thor makes Valkyrie the sovereign of Asgard and joins the gatekeepers of the system to track down his actual reason, liberated from the weight of eminence and administration without precedent for his life. Barton gets back to his family and Parker gets back to school, where he is brought together with his dearest companion, Ned. In the meantime, Rogers is entrusted to go into the past to return the stones and Thor's mallet to their unique courses of events, however chooses not to get back to the present and to rather carry on with the remainder of his life in the past with Carter. He returns before Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes as an elderly person and passes his safeguard and the mantle of Commander America on to Wilson. A short flashback shows Rogers and Carter in a standard-looking house, at last sharing the dance they never got to have in their family room, genuinely blissful finally.